Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Madison, and today I want to share with you a few things that I do to get my houseplants ready for wintertime. Now, I don't do too much, so don't get too scared, and I live in northern Colorado, so I feel like we get pretty good winters here. So I'm sure there are a bunch of places where it gets way colder, but I feel like a lot of the things that I do to get my plants ready for winter will also work for pretty much anyone else, anywhere else. So let me just get on started here. Now, to start, we're keeping houseplants. House is the main word there. So for the most part, we don't usually have to do too terribly much unless you let your house get very cold in the winter time. We like to keep it very comfortable in our house. So that's not really an issue for us. We usually keep our house around 72 to 74 degrees in the winter time. And honestly, we try to keep it around the same in the summertime, if not a little bit cooler. And the plants seem to really enjoy it. So the biggest thing for wintertime, or one of the biggest things I would say, is to just make sure that your plants are still getting adequate lighting. So you'll notice in your house that at different points throughout the day, the sun is going to hit in different areas of your house, different sides of the house, and that is going to change depending on what season you're in. So take a minute on like a day off or something like that to just kind of take note of where the sun is really hitting in your windows and see, is that where plants are, or are they maybe a couple feet over, or are they on the other side of the room or something like that? Maybe you could move them a little bit to get some better access to that sunlight. So take some time and look around your house, take note of where the sun is hitting, and then maybe see if some of your plants are starting to look a little bit sad as we're coming into these winter months and they're getting a little bit less light and it's maybe a little bit colder as well. They might start to look a little bit sadder. So maybe take note of that and try moving them to that slightly sunnier spot in the room and see if that helps at all. I should have started with this one because I really think this is probably the biggest thing to take note of for your houseplants during winter is to cut back on your watering. Not only are your plants going to most likely be getting less sunlight, they're also not going to be getting quite as much heat. So therefore they're going to be hanging on to the moisture in their soil for a good amount longer. So if you are that kind of person that likes to go around and water on a set schedule, that's not necessarily what I recommend, by the way, but if you do, nothing wrong with it. Maybe just adjust that schedule a little bit and bump it out a few extra days. So definitely take note. Don't go watering just quite yet. Pick up your pot, stick your finger in the soil, do whatever you need to do to see if that soil is still wet or not, to then decide if you want to go ahead and water. But most likely you're going to be able to give your plants a few extra days in between waterings, which is honestly kind of nice, especially if you are going on any vacations for the winter time, which I feel like that's usually when a lot of us like to go to get away from the cold wherever we are and go somewhere nice and sunny. If you're me, you're just going to go somewhere else that is also wet and cold, but still it is nice to know that you can give your plants a few extra days before you need to worry about watering them. So maybe just like water them a smidge extra before you go on your winter vacation, and then you won't really have to worry about your plants. So take that into consideration too. But yeah, definitely cut back on your winter watering schedule. And I use the word schedule lightly. So kind of along the same lines as moving your plants from darker spots to the more brighter spots in your house, you're going to want to maybe pull some plants away from the windows, especially if you like to keep plants on the windowsill like I tend to do, which probably also isn't the best for your windowsill. If you've seen my windowsill in my living room, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, if you do keep plants on your windowsill, you're gonna start noticing that they might be getting some cold damage, or they might just feel really cold to the touch. And that's because if they are right next to that window, especially if you're in an older house with older windows, they're gonna be able to feel that cold and that draft from the window very strongly. How was I going to say there? But they're going to be able to feel that draft a lot. So go ahead and move some plants away from the windows. That is something that I have gone ahead and done for all of my plants. I actually filmed that. I've already kind of filmed this video, but like a version where I walk around and like actually do all of these things with you. But I don't know what happened to all that footage. It's just gone. I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, I went ahead and pulled all of my plants that were up against the windowsill back just a little bit, not crazy far back, but just a smidge back. There's actually only one plant that I left in the windowsill, and that is my Thanksgiving cactus. she's popping off right now. She's blooming. She's really happy. So I'm just going to leave her there for now. But if I do start to notice some adverse effects from being so close to the window, like if I start to see some cold damage or I don't know, it just starts to look like it's declining or something, I'll go ahead and pull her back from the window a little bit. But definitely watch out for that because your plants don't want to be super cold in the winter, especially if you have plants that are picky with drought or not drought. What? Drafts? If you have plants that are very picky about a cold draft, what's a plant that's like that? I don't really keep many plants like that, to be honest with you. Oh, a ficus, no, what's it called? It is a ficus, isn't it? Where's my brain? A fiddly fig. Those guys are very, very picky about getting drafts and stuff like that. They do not like it. They will drop their leaves. So if you have a plant like that and you have it, you know, in near like a doorway or something like that, or near a window that you open, definitely think about moving that a little bit. Even still, you might see some adverse side effects because I feel like those plants that are kind of picky like that will also usually show some adverse side effects from being moved from one place to another. So don't panic too much. If you start to drop some leaves during the winter time, it's not a big deal. There's always spring and summer. Your plants will bounce back. So don't panic too much. And you can always take cuttings too. If you're really nervous, I feel like you can still take cuttings during the winter time. I don't know. I feel like that's a rule that people say is to like not propagate your plants in the winter, but I have just fine luck propagating in the winter. I've never had any different results, I don't think, from propagating in the spring to the winter, other than maybe it's just a little bit slower in the winter because it's not quite as warm. I think that's probably the biggest difference. So as long as you have patience, you'll be fine. But yeah, don't worry too much if your plants do start to show a little bit of adverse effects from these winter months because there's way longer spring and summer and autumn or fall, right? Yeah. Winter's not that long, hopefully. We definitely have a lot of plants along the windowsill here. Yikes. So this guy, this little philodendron Florida ghost, he's not very ghostly. He's just gonna sit where the Periso Verde was. We'll see how he likes it there. And I think I might actually just move these guys over there as well on that little stand. Some Rhaphidophora cursiva cuttings in sphagnum right here. I was just gonna put him right next to that other window. That's not what we're doing. This little cup of like a ton of different cuttings, that's gonna sit. Okay, I'm just gonna move this saucer. I will get a saucer that fits this here properly shortly. But for now, I'm just gonna make this look nice and crowded and cute. Let's grab this guy. So pretty. Just popped out this cute new leaf. This is a dragon tooth alocasia. So let's actually go like so. Cute. Yes. Okay. I dig it. I absolutely dig it. Super cute. Okay, now for these guys, I think I'm just gonna kind of like pop all of these here. Okay, let's do it. Bam, done. Now there's no more, oh, except for this sad little cup of cuttings, which honestly, for my own mental health, these are going in the trash. So along with just moving plants away from the windowsill, I will also just kind of consider if it's a plant that wants to be just warmer in general. I find that my Hoya like to be a little bit warmer. So I have decided to move every single one of my Hoya. I just had actually one holdout that was my Hoya carnosa that was in my Ikea greenhouse cabinet. I'm not able to regulate the temperature quite as well in there. Granted, it is in my living room, so it's staying usually anywhere from like 69 to 74 degrees in there. So it's not too bad, but I feel like it would appreciate the higher heat and the higher humidity as well. So I have gone ahead and decided to move it into my greenhouse cabinet. You're not a cabinet, to my grow tent that's behind me here. That way it can get much more regulated heat and humidity in this lovely environment. I also went ahead and moved my Periso Verde, Philodendron Periso Verde. If you're not familiar, definitely look it up. It's a super cool plant. Grows a little gangly, so it may not be for everyone, but it's a beautiful variegated plant, and it's one that does not revert. However, it will start to push out just plain solid green leaves and start to look like it's losing that variegation in the winter months, but that's just because it likes a lot of light and it likes a lot of warmth. So I've decided to move my Periso Verde into the grow tent as well. That way, I'm hoping I can get some really nice, beautiful variegated leaves even during the winter. We'll see. We'll see what that Spider Farmer SF600 light can do in there, but I have high hopes that I'm gonna get some good leaves. It's actually working on a new leaf in there right now, and it looks like it's pushed out a bunch of new aerial roots just within the last week since I've put it in there. So I think we're gonna see some really good growth on that guy even throughout the winter. So definitely take into account which plants do enjoy a little bit more warmth, don't like drafts or any of that stuff, and just consider moving them. It's kind of fun too to rearrange your plants in the winter, kind of give yourself a fresher feeling space, which is honestly really nice to do in the winter because I feel like, at least for me in the winter when you've got a few more gray days or way more gray days depending on where you live, it can feel just kind of gloomy and sad and make you kind of feel just like you're in like a little bit of a cave when you're in your house. But when you rearrange a little bit, especially your plants, and you feel like you're going to be noticing them more because they're in a different spot and you're seeing new growth because it's in a new spot or whatever, it just makes it all that more exciting and enjoyable to be in. So definitely don't be shy about rearranging your plants this winter because they might thank you for it. And you can always move them back in the spring and summer to where they were growing beautifully then too. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Again, I feel like that fiddle leaf thing is the caveat for everything because she's so picky, but that's okay. That's why I don't have one anymore. Let's go ahead and move this guy. The nice thing about moving him in here, one of the nice things, other than hopefully him having better growth, is that I don't have to have him in a saucer, which is really nice. That new growth looks so sad. Okay, I'm just gonna shove him in here. I can't believe I almost forgot to mention the other thing I like to do to get my plants ready for winter is clean the leaves. So I like to use these super handy microfiber, there we go, microfiber gloves that you will see me using here. I ordered them off Amazon. They're pretty inexpensive and super, super useful. It's definitely not something that I use like every single day or every single week even, but once a month or once every other month, it's really nice to go around and dust off those leaves, especially on like those larger plants that just love to accumulate dust super, super fast. So it's really, really nice to get those leaves cleaned off, and that is going to help your plants grow by allowing your leaves to photosynthesize that much more. They're not going to have to like try and photosynthesize through a layer of dust and debris. It's just going to be able to soak in what limited light it has that much more through the winter. And another reason I like to dust my leaves off is because it's going to help kind of prevent pests that much more because they're going to be like wiping them off essentially. So I do like to kind of keep in mind pests when I am dusting my leaves off. So if I feel like I'm dusting off a large plant that I know has pests, I will like use the other side of the gloves to wipe off the next plant, or like flip them inside out, or just wash them in between or something like that. It smells like dog farts in here, you guys. Straight up dog farts. What have you been doing in here? Have you guys been farting in here? Because it smells like it. Hiya! These things are so cool. I had Payson order these from Amazon for me. Hiya, microfiber gloves. So you literally just go like so and wipe these off. These leaves get dusty. And definitely want to wipe off the front and the backs of the leaves because, believe it or not, you can get dust and things on the back of the leaves. And you can also obviously have pests on the backs of the leaves. So it's just kind of nice to know you're like kind of wiping some of them off. You do need to be careful though, not to like pull too hard because you don't want to tear any leaves. That I had to learn the hard way. I was a little too aggressive at first and I tore some leaves. Especially, you have to be careful when it comes to like when we get downstairs to the Monstera because, you know, it's got the split leaves and those just want to tear very easily. Beautiful. Oh no, I broke a leaf already. Okay. I always break leaves when I dust this guy off. He gets, oh, there's one right there. He gets dusty so quickly. I'm sure getting dusty so quickly has something to do with it being right by the front door. Okay. And I'm not like terribly concerned about getting every single square inch of the leaves or anything like that. I just want to get like a nice cursory dusting of the leaves so that they can soak in just that much more light. But this is a plant that I definitely don't have to water often, especially in the winter. I'm not even gonna try to get that one. Like, that's just not happening. But all these other ones we should be able to get. I like to start at the top and work my way down just like the other one. So when I'm wiping down leaves like these guys with the splits in them, I like to kind of wipe down the midrib first and then just take it from the center out and just do gentle wipes and to kind of follow along the back side of the leaves as well, but not like tugging on them. Dusty, right? Shiny. Dusty. And shiny. So nice. Okay, I think that is pretty much it. That is literally all I do to get my plants ready for winter. So to recap really quick, our few points, the biggest one being watch your watering. Cut back on your watering a little bit because they're going to retain their moisture much more, or at least a little bit more in the winter time. Again, this is all very dependent on where you live. So if you live in like Tucson or something in Arizona or New Mexico or whatever, and you don't really get a winter, disregard, obviously. But if you live somewhere like me and you get pretty cold winters, I feel like you should find a lot of this stuff really helpful. So again, cut back on that watering. Pull your plants away from the windows and away from cold, away from drafts if they're really picky, and also consider moving them to a place that has higher light. So pay attention to where your light is hitting in your house through different times of the day. Use that as like an excuse if you feel like you need an excuse on the weekend to not do anything, even though you definitely don't need an excuse to not do anything. Doing nothing is also self-care. My mom actually said that to me today on the phone because I was just like not doing anything, talking to her before I did this, and I wanted to like do this. And I was like, man, I am just not doing anything right now. I am sitting in bed just rubbing my dog's belly. And she was like, you know what? Nothing is self-care. So don't feel bad about that. But if you're like me and you feel like you do need a like reason to be like technically not really doing much, you are watching where the sun is hitting in your house so that you can better your plants' lives. So don't feel bad. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Did I miss anything? Water, light, warmth, drafts. Look out for all those things. Don't be afraid to move your plants around. Six Toes officially awoken from his nap, so I think it is time we go get a snack and make me my afternoon coffee because it's super dark and cloudy out. It looks like we might get some snow. We'll see. All right, you guys, let me know what you do for your winter plant prep. And also, if you keep plants outside for the summer and then bring them in the winter, let me know how that goes. I ended up having to get rid of quite a few of my plants because I just didn't have space for them once I brought them inside. So they went on to better homes that could care for them, for a lot of them. But also, if you keep your plants outside during the winter too, sir, let me know how that goes because I'd be really interested to know. Okay, it's officially time to go. My dog's barking. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Okay.